probably, if WOW had been around then, she would have survived. But she never actually made it, and I think that's a very sad story, but there we are. And then we have, at 11 o'clock, Dorothy Hodgkin, who was the Nobel Prize winner for chemistry back in 1964. And there were two people who got the answer right, but only one can win. And so the person who's won the bottle of champagne, I don't know how she managed to find those ladies' photographs, very clever of you, but will you, Sharina Khan, for Action on Hearing Loss, I hope you're listening, will you please come up and get a bottle of champagne? Sharina? Is Sharina coming? There you are. You better tell me afterwards how you were clever enough to be able to find their names. Well done. Very well done. Bit of help from her daughter. Yes. That's what we all need a lot of. And now we come on to the other very important reason why we're all here today, and that's for me to introduce the Chief Executive Officer of WOW, who does this fantastic work for the research and well-being of women. And so could I ask you to welcome up on stage now Tina Weaver to speak all about the stuff they do.
Thank you, Angela. We're very pleased to be the benefiting charity today. I think it's the third year we've come together for this lunch. Doesn't 2018 feel like a great year to be a woman? From the Me Too campaign that's morphed into Time's Up, driven by some of Hollywood's most influential women determined to stamp out for everybody sexual discrimination, harassment in the workplace, and equal pay for everyone. We've got companies across the UK reporting on gender pay caps, and haven't there been some shocking figures there from the BBC down? This, to me, feels like the most seismic moment since Emmeline Pankhurst and the suffragettes. We really feel like we're on the verge of a history-changing moment. And who'd have thought this could all be triggered by Harvey Weinstein? At Wellbeing of Women, we're a charity that's been fighting discrimination of a different sort for the last 50 years. And that's the stigma and taboo around female health issues. It seems that in this country, anything below the waist is dismissed as just women's problems. We're the only charity funding research to tackle all issues of a gynecological nature. That's whether it's pregnancy, childbirth, gynae cancers, or really life-changing, debilitating issues like endometriosis, which 1 in 10 of us suffer from, and it's a very brutal disease, and yet there have been no new treatments in the last 40 years. We're one of the very few funders looking for better treatments in that. I think women are so busy looking after other people. We're either looking after our kids, we're dashing to work, we're looking after parents, our partners, sorting out house admin, that we often just forget to look after ourselves. As a result, women's health issues get sort of sidelined, marginalised, trivialised, put to the bottom of the pile. Yet nearly everybody in this room today will have a gynecological issue at some stage in their life that you'll need medical treatment for, whether it is at childbirth or at a different stage of your life. And yet, when you're carving up the research money pie in this country, only 2% of it comes to this area. And yet, I think 1 baby is born every 2 seconds. Much of the routine healthcare that we take for granted when we go to the doctors, or if we're unfortunate enough to have to go to hospital, came about thanks to our treatment. I think our very first grant, some 50 years ago, when we were called Birthright, discovered the need to take folic acid in pregnancy. Now, there's no woman who just wouldn't take folic acid when they're pregnant. The use of ultrasound in pregnancy, the safe use of lasers to treat cervical cancer came about thanks to our work. Take cervical cancer. It's the most common and biggest killer of women under the age of 35. 3 women will die today and every day, and yet it's the most preventable disease. It was our work, doctors we funded, that discovered the link between the HPV virus and cervical cancer. And as a result of that link, now every schoolgirl in this country is offered the vaccine when they're about 12. But for the rest of us who didn't have the vaccine, or even for those of us who have, You have to have a smear test. I think 1 million people missed their smears last year, and there'll be thousands of women out there fighting cervical cancer unnecessarily today. So I would say that women should stick together on this, urge each other to make sure they have those tests, because it is the one cancer that truly is preventable. In 2018, the need for better treatments and cures in gynecological cancers, in gynecological issues and reproductive issues has never been greater. Today and every day, 21 dearly loved mothers, sisters, grannies will die of a gynae cancer. 1 in 15 babies will die at birth today for no given reason, when it should be the happiest of times. 1 in 7 couples are on that very lonely, isolating journey that is infertility, desperate to start a baby. This is a short film we had made that we're now about to see. But I also urge you to look at this page in the brochure in front of you. This is a list of all the breakthroughs that our works help lead to. On the tables, some pieces of paper as well. If you put your details on there, we can then get in touch with you and let you know about our events. We have fabulous events. In fact, we had one just 2 weeks ago in this same room at night with Claudia Winkelmann, which was truly fabulous. So do stay in touch with us through our website or fill in your details. And I think we're about to see that short video now.
I've witnessed many thousands of babies being born. That first cry is a magical moment, and it never ceases to move me. It's over 50 years since I first delivered a baby, and in that time I've seen great changes and improvements in healthcare. Wellbeing of Women has been at the forefront of those medical breakthroughs. Ultrasound scanning, fetal monitoring, and the intensive care of newborn, premature and sick babies, because tragically, for many families, there's not always a happy ending.
Lisa was the most wonderful sister in the world, and it was only actually after she passed away I realised she was my best pal too.
She couldn't wait to be a mum. She was so excited. In the early stages of labour, she just said to me, "Mum, I don't feel well." And I went up to her and sort of put my arms out, and she just collapsed into my arms. Carried out a caesarean section and delivered Louis. He was stillborn, and then they were operating on Lisa. It was amniotic fluid embolism. So I was there with Mark, her brother, when they turned the machine off.
Wellbeing of Women was the only charity out there financing research into this condition that took the lives of Lisa and Louis. We went away as a family and we raised close to £30,000 to put towards that research.
The reason we're supporting Wellbeing of Women is to stop any other family going through what we did.
My mum was an incredibly vibrant and very feisty, passionate lady. She was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer, and in those last couple of months it became obvious that she wasn't going to be to that time. 12 women will die today, tomorrow and each and every day from ovarian cancer right now. My mum was a firm supporter of Wellbeing of Women because they're investing in fantastic research for early diagnostic and cure, which will put a stop to that figure.
After a number of miscarriages and 4 failed IVF attempts, my husband and I came to the conclusion that we weren't going to be able to have a family. Wellbeing of Women were there for us throughout, whether it was with a warm hug or lending an ear. Nature then did the rest, and we now have 2 beautiful miracle children, proving once again that life can be as rewarding and beautiful as it can be tough. Regardless, Wellbeing of Women will be there for you.
There won't be a woman alive today who hasn't benefited from the work of Wellbeing of Women, but we need to do more, much more, not just for us, but for our daughters and their children and generations to come.
just